This is my he. Yeah, no, this is good. This is good stuff. Which is a great weekend to go to that, by the way. But of course, we got to talk about Halloween. By the way, this orange tie might not seem like much, but for over 10 years, I've worn this on Halloween. So this is my go-to Halloween tie.
The Mulcahy tradition.
Yeah, Mulcahy tradition. Not as cool as fast food or anything like that. It's not really special, but I just wanted to say something about costumes. But anyways, Halloween forecast is beautiful. Wall-to-wall sunshine, no big deals. Temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly, though, as we typically expect. So for parents planning on what the kids should wear when trick-or-treating starts, and I know it can start as early as 5 o'clock. A lot of times 6 to 8 is the sweet spot. Temperatures are going to begin in the lower 60s, and they're going to drop down into the lower 50s by about 8 p.m. So just kind of plan accordingly, and then we'll be down in the 40s, and then before you know it, by tomorrow morning, we're actually down into the 30s. But since it is the last day of October, let's do some October stats. Nothing really stands out too much. 85 degrees is the top, 42 the bottom. That's the only one that really stands out because actually, even though our normal is typically in the 40s, I have seen only 30 times since 1878 that we haven't dropped down below 40 degrees during the month of October. It usually happens at least once, so this was number 30. So that's the one that kind of stands out. Everything else, really not too much. But the rain that we saw on Monday was over an inch of rain. It was kind of crazy. That was actually 53%, so more than half the rain that we had for the entirety of the month. And that's another stat that really stood out to me, is during this time frame from the 26th to the 29th, we had over 2 inches of rain. Well, in October 1st to the 25th, the first 25 days, we only had 0.07. So that's why we were so drought-stricken. Things weren't really looking too good. Things definitely heading in a better direction. But that's actually the 5th wettest end to October on records, believe it or not. October fairly is a drier month, so that doesn't really surprise me that stood out, even though it's a low amount of rain, considering some totals could be up to 7 during August. And our sky cams are beautiful wherever you look. Mr. Sparky Carolina Camera Network doing justice. Carolina Blues across Charlotte, Dallas, Monroe, over to Lake Norman. Looking good, my friends. So rejoice and happy Halloween. Our temperatures are back to the 50-degree point in the upper 40s, and we're going to warm up in a hurry. Yesterday we hit 64. Since we're starting off a little bit chillier, I only have a high about 63 for today, but it's overall going to be a good one. But here's something new. The Frost Freeze program is in place for the beginning and end of growing season. It is not really until either we have our first big freeze, or I think it's November 10th is the date they have. Might be even November 11th. It's at that point that we're still going to have frost advisories, freeze watches, and warnings, just letting us know, hey, we have any delicate plants. If you want to protect them, this is how you can increase longevity. So protect those plants. This is our first chance for a little bit of frost, and our lows dropping down into the 30s. I have a low of 38 degrees for Charlotte, 35 around Hickory, and first-time comers for the 32-degree point. I wouldn't be surprised if Lincolnton's going to do that. I think you'd probably see a freezing temperature around Morganton. That area right now is under a freeze watch, but I think that likely will be upgraded to a freeze warning a little bit later on. Our 70 forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Supercenter. Not much really happening this week, and that's what you like to see. We do have a slight chance for rain on Sunday night heading into Monday. And Monday, an on and off shower is going to be a possibility, but I really like where temperatures are headed. They're actually zooming back to about 70 degrees. Our new average is 68, so that's really nice to see. So it's going to be a nice little warm-up, something to look forward to the middle of next week. As far as those rain chances, here's kind of an idea of what that looks like. Your rain chances are barely anything. I think you're dry for the entirety of your Sunday, but those clouds start to move in Saturday night to Sunday. I think we have some sunshine mixed in after that, and then you can see a second coming of clouds with a slight chance for rain. This looks to be fairly weak. We're still on the drier end with this system, so I just want to temper expectations, not really looking at anything super widespread that is associated with this. So good news there. Heading into the weekend, a little bit more detail. It's also on November 1st and 2nd, Dia de los Muertos. One of my favorite things to do is Camp North End has a wonderful festival there. It has amazing music, amazing food. We brought JT there the last couple of years, and it really is eye-opening. So if you are interested in doing this or you don't know much about this, I highly recommend this. Great. The movie Coco really opened people's eyes, and it's one of the yeah, Kim and I, my wife, were talking about this. Coco is probably our new favorite Disney movie.
Oh, it's a good one.
Because the story is incredible. And it's also something that truly teaches you about this culture that I wish I was a part of. But that's the coolest thing about this festival. Even if this isn't your culture, they invite it and you get to celebrate with them. So highly recommend that. Great for the kids as well. That's always a wonderful time. But the thing that's not great, that a lot of us are not looking forward to, is daylight saving time coming to an end. So, I know I've been mentioning this. It's obvious. Some people say, yeah, you just go back an hour, but sometimes you really have to look at it. Because on Saturday, our sunset time is 6:28. Of course, we're just subtracting 1, but 5:27.
Boo.
That's a huge deal. You were mentioning this, Jane. Likely at that point, you're going to be driving in the dark when you leave work. So 5:27, keep that in mind, and go down to about 5:10-ish for the second week of December. So, yep,
boy.
no, we're heading that direction. I love the fall, but it's at this point there's a big fallout for many things, such as adjusted sunset time and chillier highs and lows going forward.
We pay a price for it all.
Hey, yeah,
it's
of course.
okay. We have our ears on. We got our crown.
Yep, royalty here.
Royalty.
Weather royalty.
Yes, he is Mr. Mulcahy of the Queen City and of the Live Impact Studio, Morning Weather. Thank you so much. And I love Dia de los Muertos. It's a great way to celebrate. So good reminder there. A lot to do this weekend. And glad to hear that the weather's cooperating.
Oh, amazing.